It was Christmas Eve, and I was making dinner when my roommate, Cynthia, texted me that she'd be late from the party. To be honest, I wasn't okay with that because even though Cynthia never mentioned it, I figured out a few weeks ago that there was this guy, mid 30s, who had started following her. Cynthia never made a big deal out of it, and I tried talking to her so many times, but she just didn't care. So I texted her back telling her to be safe and let me know when she'd be coming home. Around 1 a.m., I was about to sleep when I heard someone banging on the door. I looked through the peephole and it was him, the same guy who had been stalking Cynthia. That's all I could see under the porch light, but as I stared, my stomach dropped. I noticed two more guys with him moving along the house. Their shadows slipped past the windows, circling like predators. I ran to check the back door lock and then locked all my windows. Not even 3 seconds later, another guy started banging on the back door. I grabbed my phone to call for help and then I realized he was actually trying to pick the lock. My hands shook uncontrollably and I rushed to block the door with anything heavy I could find. I was sweating, yet my fingers and hand felt ice cold. The front door banging, the back door lock clicking, and now someone was tapping on the windows too. I double checked every window. Luckily, the window's glass was too strong to break in, and I had no neighbors within a mile radius, nobody to hear me. But I finally grabbed my phone to call again, and that's when I heard the front door opening. Shit. I went to my room and locked myself in the bathroom. And these people were serious. They definitely thought that Cynthia was me. In the bathroom, just as I called 911 and was about to speak to the dispatcher, I heard them coming upstairs.
We know you're here. Better get out, princess.
They said. I froze. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. I was terrified they'd hear me and try the lock on my room too. Texting 911 wasn't supported in my state, so I frantically tested Cynthia instead. She immediately called 911 for me and she turned to a few friends at her party for help. They rushed towards the house even before the cops arrived. Miraculously, I was saved. My advice to everyone: report the stalker immediately. I still cannot get that Christmas out of my head. This happened when I asked my friend to help me book a guy playing Santa for my son's birthday in December. Since it was a kids' party, so it started at 3 p.m., right when the guy playing Santa showed up. At first, he was relaxed and acted like, normal, right? But as the evening went on, he started getting weird. Weird enough to make me uneasy, but not weird enough to cause a scene. I wasn't about to ruin my son's birthday after all. I served the cake, the kids played, and everything felt like a typical birthday party. But I couldn't stop watching the Santa. Something about him was definitely off. Around 6 p.m., the party was basically over. Most of the kids had already left, but the Santa was still sitting on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen. I dropped a few hints for him to head out, but he didn't even react. It got more creepy once the last kid left, so I started cleaning up, and this time I told him directly, "You know the party's over. You can't leave now," I said. He finally moved, just his left arm. He reached into his sleeve, pulled out a knife, and set it on the couch beside him. A cold chill ran through my whole body. I told my son to go to his room, trying to keep my voice steady. And right then, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my friend, and she said, "Everyone's booked. Sorry, I couldn't find a Santa for you." My mind filled with questions of who is this guy in front of me. I somehow survived that night. Don't ask. But that's not all. You see, years later, I found that my friend wasn't entirely innocent that night. To be honest, I've never really healed from this experience. This happened back in 2015 when my stepbrother somehow hooked me up with a Christmas tree around December. It had been lying in my apartment for a while because I was completely buried in work. Then one night, December 20th, I got off work around 11 p.m. By midnight, I suddenly got this dopamine rush and decided to finally put up the ornaments and decorate the tree. Maybe it was the guilt of that tree just sitting there staring at me. I called my stepbrother since we had planned to decorate it together, and he only lived 2 blocks away. But he didn't pick up, so I just went ahead. I was arranging the ornaments on the table when a sudden rush of cold air brushed past me, sharp enough to make me pause. It felt like someone had stepped right in front of me. I froze and slowly turned. For a moment, I saw a dark shadow pressed against the back of the tree like it was hugging it from behind. I blinked and leaned back, and it was gone. Maybe it was just in my head. I checked the whole apartment, every corner, and there was no one but me. Even after reassuring myself, I was still shaken. I called my stepbrother again, and this time he answered, and the first thing he said was, "Leave that Christmas tree alone." In a firm and demanding tone. I asked him, "How do you even know I'm decorating?" And that's when he told me that there was a hidden camera inside trees like this, installed by some weirdos, and they had been spying on people for months. I asked him how he knew, but the call suddenly disconnected. A few minutes later, my stepbrother was at my door. He came in and got rid of the tree, and ever since I've wondered if that shadow wasn't trying to scare me, but trying to warn me. This December, I had to move into a new neighborhood. Ever since then, Christmas hasn't felt the same. It all started when I got invited to a Christmas party at 3 a.m. by one of my neighbors. I know 3 a.m. isn't exactly party time, but something about the way she said it pulled me in. I'm not the social type, I usually keep to myself, but the girl who invited me, Lucy, kept insisting I come. She was almost too friendly, the kind of friendly that feels like a cry for help disguised as a smile. And her eyes, hollow, exhausted, like she hadn't truly rested in weeks. After she left, I made myself some coffee and questioned every decision that brought me here. Around 2 a.m., I finally convinced myself to get ready. That's when I got a text from Lucy. "Don't miss the before party part," she said, which made no sense because I never gave her my contact number. Still, I left for the party. When I reached her house, I knocked 3 times. No answer, no voices, no music, nothing. Am I at the wrong place? I asked myself. Then the door slowly creaked open. I stepped inside. The house felt frozen in time. "Hello?" I called. "Is this some kind of prank you pull on you neighbors?" The hallway led to a living room and a staircase. Maybe the party was upstairs, I asked myself. I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. I turned on my phone's flashlight, and that's when I saw her. Lucy, on the floor, still. My chest tightened. My hands went cold. I checked for a pulse. Nothing. Her wrist was bleeding. I wrapped my scarf around it and called 911. I did chest compressions until help arrived, hoping she'd breathe, move, anything. But we couldn't save her. Lucy was gone. Moments like this that change you forever. They make you realize how quiet pain can be, how easily someone can slip away right in front of you. You never really know what someone is carrying. So pay attention, be kind. Sometimes that small bit of care is everything. And remember how I said I moved here recently? Yeah, that's because people in my old neighborhood had already started suspecting me.